see. All right. Welcome.
Good morning, Madam Chair. I'm Avery Brown, Assistant Commissioner of the California Highway Patrol, appearing on behalf of Commissioner Joe Farrell, who is unable to be with us today. The department comes before you to respectfully ask your consideration in enacting trailer bill language that would require motor carriers to obtain the United States Department of Transportation number as a condition of securing their California carrier identification number. Recently, the state of California enacted legislation in AB 529 in 2013 to change our biannual inspection of terminals program from a 25-month program to the basic inspection program that we currently have. The US DOT number is that single identification number that allows the automated system to continually track both interstate and intrastate operators. The department, on behalf of the industry in the state of California, we have been working with the federal government in securing those numbers for our motor carriers in the state of California. So they would submit an application, we would take the data, batch it, and send it to the federal government. Federal government would issue us the DOT numbers, we would assign them to our motor carriers, and to date we have done that for some 232,000 motor carriers at no cost to the motor carrier, so that they could be in compliant and that our inspection program can be effective, it can be viable, it can be used by our individuals within the state. In the latter part of 2015, Congress did a congressional mandate that now requires the motor carrier to directly apply for that number. The department would not have any ability or opportunity to advocate on behalf of the motor carriers anymore and secure that number for them. This trailer bill language is necessary so that it clearly outlines in the vehicle code the requirements of the motor carrier to approach the federal government through IT, through the web-based portal, to secure that number, bring it forward to us so that we may issue the California carrier number. Prior to coming to the testimony today, I reached out to the federal government and confirmed that there is no cost for our intrastate motor carrier operators. Jamie Vassar at FMCSA confirmed that for us today. So the only change would be that our motor carriers would go forward and make the application and bring us the number, and there's no cost to the Highway Patrol. We still stand ready and able to support the motor carriers in navigating the process and securing the number. As we sit here today and I testify before you, there are 48,000 motor carriers who are in the process of securing those numbers and becoming compliant with the law. So this trailer bill language would put California in compliance with federal law under Title 49, and it would also make us ready and able to operate prior to the federal government's enacting of their program on October 1st of 2016.
All right, seems pretty straightforward. Are there any questions, any public comment on this item? Recommendation is to approve as proposed. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
It has been moved by Senator Pavley. Please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen?
Aye.
Senator Pavley?
3-0. Been approved. Thank you very much. We're now moving on to DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles. We have 4 issues. The first is the motor vehicle account, the MVA fund condition. Has it gotten any better?
Slightly.
Okay. That's a rhetorical question, as Senator Pavley reminds me. All right, let's grapple with this. All right, who's on? First item, MVA.
Mark Newberger, Department of Finance.
Welcome.
This proposal will provide funding to meet the needs for the CHP, DMV, and other fund users. We're happy to answer any questions.
All right. Not many questions other than there will be the administration's proposal to raise the registration fee and the related trailer bill language is the recommendation. We agree with that. LAO?
This item was heard previously by the subcommittee, and we made our comments at that time. We would just note that some action is needed in order to bring the account into solvency.
All right, public hearing on this. Senator Nielsen.
Madam Chair, I'm going to raise an issue at this point. It's a significant issue, and I'm actually going to make a motion on it just to raise the issue, I hope, very publicly. I oppose the raising of the fee, and the motion is going to be that we reject the transfer of $70 million to the general fund. This goes back some 10 years to, I believe, our budget. It was a way to balance the budget way back in 2009 and 10. And I remember it very vividly as a member of the Budget Committee in the Assembly at those days. Some $600 million over these years has been transferred into the general fund. We don't know what it's going to. The people of California do not know what it's going to. They legitimately think that their $10 has been, vehicle registration fee has been going into transportation, and it hasn't. And that's not keeping faith with them. And my motion is a motion to keep faith with the citizens of California and tell them the truth. And at the least, we need to make an accounting of where that $70 million is going, and it's growing. It will continue to grow in amount. So my motion may go down to defeat, but it does need to go on the record that this $70 million would not go to the general fund, would stay in transportation.
All right. Thank you, Senator Nielsen. We have a motion in front of us. Is there public comment on this issue? All right, seeing none, please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
No.
Senator Nielsen?
Aye.
Senator Pavley?
This fails. The motion fails.
Thank you for the
1 to
indulgence on the
2.
motion, Madam Chair.
Pardon?
Thank you for the indulgence on the motion.
That's fine. All right, let's go back to the staff recommendation, which I agree with. Approve as proposed the administration's proposal to increase the vehicle registration fee and the related trailer bill language. It has been moved by Senator Pavley. Public comment on this? See none, please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? No. Senator Pavley?
Aye. It has been supported 2 to 1. All right, moving on to the second item, which is the self-service terminal expansion project, which I happen to like a lot.
So do we. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. And my name is Bill Davidson with the Department of Motor Vehicles, and with me is Robbie Crockett, the department's budget officer, and here on behalf of our director, Gene Shimoto, who couldn't be here today either. But as the director shared previously in this committee, the self-service terminals have quickly become a very popular renewal channel for our customers. They allow a customer to complete a simple vehicle registration renewal or a planned non-operation transaction at a kiosk-type machine without having to interact with a DMV technician. The customer can pay with cash, with a check, or with credit card, and they receive their registration card and their sticker on the spot. Today, these self-service terminals are located in 50 of our field offices throughout the state, but we do not have any that are located in a location other than our field office. So the next logical step is to expand the terminals to retail locations outside the DMV and bring the DMV to the customer at times and at locations that are convenient to them. This proposal is a key strategy for the DMV to be able to address the continued growth in the state, which brings with it an increased number of people requiring our services without having to invest in the construction or lease of field offices in new locations. And one of the biggest benefits of this self-service terminal proposal is to provide a renewal channel that can accept cash and be available after hours and on weekends. Affording our customers this alternative will ultimately free up space in the lobbies and parking lots of our field offices and allow for better overall service to our customers. We appreciate the staff recommendation on this proposal, and we do not have any concerns with the proposed supplemental language.
All right, good. I want to turn to the LAO because it was your suggestions that are in fact incorporated into the supplemental language, which is important.
Correct. As we noted when this issue was heard previously by this subcommittee, we had a couple of concerns. One, not feeling that the augmentation is actually necessary due to certain savings that the self-service terminals generate. And also that the legislature needs additional information on the level of savings as well as DMV's overall strategy for the use of self-service terminals. And we just note that your staff recommendation for the supplemental reporting language would provide that information to the legislature in future years, and we're happy to work with staff to ensure that the legislature gets all the information that we think is needed from that report.
All right, I need a motion on the recommendation, which is to approve as budgeted and adopt the supplemental reporting language as described by the LAO, which has to do with the location and utilization. Oops. Yes, Senator.
Madam Chair, I cannot support this. It's maybe a good idea, but there's too little information for me to say yes, the efficacy of this plan. It's an example of government with going ahead with what could be a very, very good idea. It could be very consumer positive. But where these things are going to be located, how they are going to be secured, how they're going to be monitored, how do we keep track of them? Are they really working? Are they drawing the population that we expect? How do we shut them down if they're not getting the traffic that are required? And a supplemental report after we've invested all this money doesn't seem to make sense. So a business plan, nobody's in a private business would be investing lots of money in some kind of thing that we don't know much about. I just don't have enough knowledge that we could be really assured that this is a good investment at this point. So I'd rather see the more facts in advance of the investment rather than saying, well, we'll spend the money and then we'll take a look at it afterwards. So I'll be a no vote.
All right, thank you. The motion is to approve as budgeted, adopt the supplemental reporting language to have DMV report the location and utilization of self-service terminals as well as cost savings resulting from the diversion of transactions through these terminals. And we had a motion from Senator Pavley. Thank you. Public comment. All right, seeing none, please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? Senator Pavley?
All right, that recommendation is supported 2-1. Let's move on to issue 3, which is the new motor voter program. We have some concerns about this. Very briefly, welcome.
Okay. Again, as our director had previously mentioned a few weeks ago here in this subcommittee, the DMV began offering a new voter registration process in our field offices, beginning with the first office on April 5th of this year. Additional offices were added in a staged approach with the final 93 offices, which equates to over half of our total offices, implementing this new process on April 25th, which was just a little over 3 weeks ago. We'd like to provide you with some brief statistics on what we've done to date. So as of last Friday, May 13th, we've had more than 37,000 individuals that have come to our field offices to complete a driver license or identification card transaction and who chose to register to vote or to update their voter registration information. And in addition, we've had roughly 27,000 individuals who have done the same via our online voter registration application. And in the time that we've implemented this new process, we've closely monitored its effectiveness, and we've made several changes and adjustments to ensure that the greatest number of individuals who wish to register vote are able to do so. And these changes include the following. First, we've redirected staff to monitor the touchscreen terminal area in our field offices. The role of these staff is to assist those who wish to register to vote in ensuring they know where to go to complete the voter registration process and aid them in the use of the touchscreen terminals if they require that assistance. We've also instituted a checklist that's printed in a bright color in 10 different languages that helps direct the individuals where to go in the process and alerts our staff that the individual has elected to register to vote. And third, we put up signage in our offices helping direct voter registrants on where to go, and we will soon be adding messaging to our field offices that have message boards informing customers of the voter registration process and how they can complete this process. So again, we're early in this process. We're already beginning to note improved effectiveness as we've implemented these changes. In fact, the last week and a half, we've noted significant progress and improvement. And we'll continue to be nimble and responsive and closely monitor the process, and we remain fully committed to getting this right.
All right, thank you. We know how important this is, and there is a great deal of concern about this issue. So, LAO, if you want to make some comments, and then I'll...
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to follow up. When this issue was heard previously by the subcommittee, you did ask our office to look into some of the concerns that were raised by stakeholders, and we have had the opportunity to talk with the coalition of stakeholders as well as the DMV, and also to go on a recent site visit to actually see the process that DMV is using. I would just note that we don't have any recommendations at this time. I think that there are definitely some valid questions that have been raised. It's difficult to tell because this is a new process that DMV has implemented, exactly what the outcomes are. Your staff is recommending to reject the proposal in order to send it to conference committee so that the legislature has more time to evaluate. And that seems to be a reasonable approach. With regard to this specific $3.9 million in funding that's requested, we would just note that that doesn't appear to relate to the specific process concerns that are being raised by the stakeholders, and we don't have an issue with the funding, but having more time to consider this, is a reasonable approach.
All right, thank you. I'd like to hear from the public at this point. Come forward, public comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. I'm Trudy Schaefer, representing the League of Women Voters of California, and as one of the stakeholder organizations that has been working with the DMV and representatives of the Secretary of State's office, I'm speaking to support the staff recommendation. We do recognize that a great deal of progress has been made, but there are still some very important unresolved issues, and we believe that this recommendation will help in giving us the time to work on them. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any further public comment? All right, the recommendation is to reject the governor's proposal so that the issue will go to conference committee, which allows for some additional time to talk about specifically the process.
I just had one comment.
Yes, Senator.
Local papers in the LA area have commented quite a few that people are not completing their registration process because after they go to the one line, have to go find another room somewhere else to go complete that. And I guess it's confusing for them. I'm not sure what the problems is, but I certainly support the recommendation of working out ways to improve the process. So I'll make that motion.
All right, thank you, Senator Pavley. Further comments? Senator Nielsen? All right, please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye?
Senator Nielsen? Senator Pavley?
Aye.
All right, that passes 2 with 1 abstention, or 2-0, 1 abstention. All right, moving on to the Real ID driver's license or identification card trailer bill language. All right.
The DMV is currently working on a Real ID compliance package to submit to the Federal Department of Homeland Security. This proposed trailer bill language would address 2 key components that California will need in order to comply with the Real ID Act. Specifically, statutory changes would be made to 1, prohibit an individual from being issued or possessing more than 1 Real ID compliant card at a time, and 2, modify the senior ID card term from 10 to 8 years, as the Real ID regulations do not allow for card terms to exceed 8 years. And we understand that there's not necessarily a budget component associated with this request. Our purpose in making this request for trailer bill language is to show the federal government that we are working to address those areas in which we are not Real ID compliant, thus strengthening our Real ID compliance package. However, we do understand the concerns expressed by staff.
Right. The proposed trailer bill language changes would not take effect until 2018. So the recommendation truly is to reject the language and pursue the changes through a policy bill. This is a very important issue and could use the more process than exists currently in a budget subcommittee. So I would like public comment. And LAO, did you have a comment on this?
We did have some comments and recommendations in line with your staff comments and recommendations.
All right, thank you. Public comment, welcome.
Thank you. Becca Kramer on behalf of the ACLU of California. And you should have a copy in front of you of a coalition letter representing a diverse coalition across the political spectrum and also what issues they care about, recommending that you do not implement the trailer bill language. We feel that the Real ID is the wrong direction for California for the reasons stated in our letter. Thank you.
All right, further comment? Come forward.
Good afternoon, Danielle Kando-Kaiser on behalf of the Electronic Frontier Foundation as well as the Privacy Rights Coalition, Clearinghouse, excuse me. We, as ACLU has already stated, we are part of that coalition letter and we urge a no vote. Thank you.
All right, further comment? Seeing none, is there a motion to reject the proposal? All right, it's been moved by
the proposal.
reject the proposed trailer bill language and ask the administration to go the policy bill route since there is time. So with that, please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? Senator Pavley?
Aye.
All right, that is supported 3-0. Thank you very much. All right, we will now move, Catherine, come about. We will now move to Part B, which is energy only. All right, we have some vote-only issues in front of us. The first is 3360, which has to do with the Energy Commission Title 20 Appliance Efficiency Standards Compliance Assistance and Enforcement Program. And if anything should be changed on that, it's the title. All right, and 8660 is the California Public Utilities Commission. These are vote-only items. The first is the implementation of 380, SB 380. The second is the biogas study. And the third is funding for the network engineer consultants. And I believe there are, whoops, hang on. On page 3, before I get a motion on this, vote only, page 3, item 1, implementation of SB 380.
I think I better move that.
Oh, well, in a minute. I just have to state that the 2.7 million is incorrect. It's in fact 2.1 million.
Okay.
All right. And that's it? Okay, so I was just going to say that the approval is what is being moved with the exception of item 3, just for the record, which is a rejection of the proposal. Those are vote-only issues. I have a motion to that effect. Shall we wait? One at a time? All right. Okay. We only have 4, so we might. Forget that motion. I withdraw you withdraw your motion. Thank you very much, Senator Pavley. And instead, we'll move the vote-only issue first for the Energy Commission, item number 1, the finance letter. And I'm not going to repeat again the Appliance Efficiency Standards Compliance Assistance and Enforcement Program. Would you like to move that item?
So moved.
All right. Senator Pavley moves that, approved as proposed. Please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? No. Senator Pavley?
That is approved 2-1. And we'll now move to the California Public Utilities Commission. Again, item number 1 and 3? All right. Senator Pavley, would you move, do, yes. Yes. Items 1, the implementation of 380, and 3, which is the rejection of the network proposal. Would you move those?
Certainly.
All right, it's been moved by Senator Pavley.
And that's with the change you made on the bill requires 2.1
2.1
million
million.
instead of 2.7.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? Senator Pavley?
Aye.
All right, those are approved, 3-0. Let's do item 2, which is the trailer bill language biogas study, previously heard. Approved as budgeted is the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, please call the roll.
Senator Wolk?
Aye.
Senator Nielsen? Senator Pavley?
Aye.
Been accepted 2-1. Let's now go to the vote-only issues. To the vote issues. All right. First item, California Energy Commission. All right. Issue number 1, page 6, 350 and 802. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
You're on.